We are now on chapter 9, looking at vowels. And there used to be this wonderful site that you see here on the screen out of the University of Iowa called the Sounds of Speech. But because it relies heavily on Flash, whatever that is, Flash, those will be all discontinued in December of 2020. So if you're in the course before 2020, great, you can look and play with this website. Otherwise, after 2020, it will no longer work, and that's why I'm video taping, screening, taking screenshots of what the site is. So we're on vowels right now, and what we see here is what we're going to be seeing in all the remaining chapters. In chapter 9 and 10, we're only worried about the vowels. And I talked already in the notes about las vocales altas, las medias, y las bajas. Y la cosa importante que recordar es que las vocales altas, que consisten de la I y la U, les puedo mostrar aquí en sus notas. Okay. Eso es el triángulo vocálico del español. Las vocales altas se consideran como vocales cerradas, porque la boca está más cerrada a pronunciar esas dos vocales, la I y la U. Así que esas son las vocales altas I y U. La cosa que recordar con la I es que los labios están estirados. No pueden estar en una posición neutra como se hace en inglés. You know, if we say I, your lips really don't move. You want to just really stretch them out to say E, like you're smiling and showing your teeth. This guy really doesn't do it. But in order to pronounce or articulate well that E, you have to stretch out your lips. Otherwise, it's going to come out like English speakers saying hippo, hija, misa, aquí. But if you say hippo, hija, misa, aquí, it'll come out really nice and clear. Let's see if you can see them all.
Misa. Aquí.
And what you can see also for our class notes, what's going on with our tongue. Posición horizontal, posición horizontal y posición vertical. What we see is the position of the tongue with these horizontal and vertical positions. So again, we're looking at E. They're telling us that the tongue is in a high position and towards the front of the mouth. This is the back. And it's best pictured in this drawing here where we see the tongue is going to be up high and towards the front to say E. Okay, this is in contrast to U, where the tongue is also up high, but it's also going to be in the back here. You see how that kind of happens on its own? And that's what it means for this U, where the tongue is in a high position and also towards the back of the throat. Okay, if that helps. Just notice that you have your vocal cords here. They're moving when I'm playing the video. It just means that they vibrate or make a sound when we're saying them. The next vowels that we have are las vocales medias, E y O. And this is what we have here. The tongue is in the middle position of the mouth, vertically. It's like in the most central part of the mouth, E and O. You'll see here that the E is pronounced towards the front of the mouth while the O is towards the back of the throat. We click on it and just notice what the tongue is doing. It's going to stay in this neutral position and kind of towards the front. Whereas the O is in the back and still the neutral position. Again, to compare to how the tongue was a little bit higher for the I and the U, vertically the tongue was a little bit higher, whereas the medium or middle ones are in the middle of the buccal cavity. Another thing to remember with this O, this is another vowel that needs to be, in order to be pronounced correctly, you really need to round your lips. Okay, and that's why I have here redondamiento de los labios. You really want to round them for the O and also the U. I didn't talk about that before, so let's go back to U. And you'll see his lips. Azul. Uña. You saw how his lips really pursed to say those vowels. We don't do that much in English. And that is something that will carry over in our Spanish if we don't round those lips in an exaggerated manner. For us that we always have our lips in the neutral position seems exaggerated, but that's the only way we'll actually sound correct. Uña instead of uña. Tuna, in order to say it correctly, or humo or azul, you really need to round those lips. Otherwise, it will sound uña, humo, tuna, azul. Now, I know I'm exaggerating the American accent, but again, round those lips. If we look at the O, rounding of his lips, he really does it. Exaggerated, it seems like, but that's how you need to pronounce it or articulate it. Ojo. You can't say ojo, ojo, and keep your lips in neutral position. That's where we're going to hear your American articulation. Ocho. So those lips really purse there. Cosa. Vaso. This final O for us in Spanish needs to be really rounded. Otherwise, it comes out as no, vaso. It comes out as how we pronounce them in English, and it's incorrect. Finally, we have our lower or the most open vowel, where the tongue is in the lowest position of the mouth and in the most central position of the mouth, which is ah. And that is why the dentist asks you to get your tongue out of the way to see the teeth. He tells you, say ah, because that gets the tongue in the most out of the way completely. And you'll see, like I said, tongue is in the lowest part of the buccal cavity and in the central position. Tongue really didn't come down anymore, but if you say it correctly, ah, that should be come down here. That drawing should come down a little bit more. And he kind of does it. You can see his that tongue is really down when he says it. And it's just like our ah. It's not a, it's not ca, it's ah. And there's only one variation of it. So that's how we define, characterize vowels. And eso, voy a cambiar el español. Hay tres características. La A tiene la posición central, es baja, y los labios están en la posición neutra. La I es una vocal anterior, donde la lengua está en la posición alta y los labios están estirados. La U está en posición, la lengua está en la posición posterior de la cavidad bucal, la lengua está en posición alta y los labios están redondeados. Y luego la E tiene la lengua en posición anterior de la cavidad bucal, posición media con los labios estirados. Y la O tiene la lengua en la posición posterior de la cavidad bucal, la lengua en posición media de la boca con los labios redondeados. He tratado de incluir aquí un dibujo de la misma cosa que acaban de ver en el video. Okay. Y lo que he tratado de hacer aquí con la O y la U, se puede ver que los labios están redondeados. Bien. Así que podemos tratar de hacer esa actividad de qué vocal tiene esa característica. Posterior, voy a hacer los modelos, quiere decir, la lengua está en posición posterior de la cavidad bucal. Hay dos, la U y la O. Okay. ¿En qué vocal tiene los labios en la posición neutras o neutros? Es la AA. Okay, ahora pueden hacer esa actividad. Igual con esa actividad, tratar, son 5 vocales aquí, cada una con su caracterización y escoger cuál de esas características, a qué vocal describe esa característica, donde la vocal tiene la lengua en la posición posterior, media, con los labios redondeados. Y luego pueden siempre comprobar tus respuestas con la clave que está en el PowerPoint.